Today on Week in Review, a warning involving the all-native basketball tournament was issued, Prince Rupert had to extend its boil water notice, and the Terrace RCMP publicized their latest drug bust. Hello, I'm Cael Maslin, and thank you for joining us here on Week in Review, where we cover all of the news here in the Northwest from this past week. The all-native basketball tournament will be coming to Prince Rupert as per usual to run from February 8th to 15th, and as teams gear up, the tournament organizers have recently put out a warning for everyone involved in the tourney. Here's Cael Maslin from CFTK-TV News with more of an explanation on what that means.
When you search for the all-native basketball tournament, several pages come up. However, the only page verified to belong to the tournament is the one at the top, with 12,000 followers and over 300 reviews. As for the rest of the pages, organizers of the tournament wrote on their own page that it's come to their attention that there is a scam all-native basketball tournament Facebook page, and they've been trying to flag it as fraud. Commenters added that there are not only scam pages, but scam people as well, who are attempting to add people who are connected to the tournament as friends. Tournament organizers wrote that the scammers have been corresponding with some teams and have actually gotten tournament fees out of one of them. Organizers are asking for the public's assistance to report any unofficial pages or people, and say that money should only be sent to the email addresses referenced in the tournament's invitation package. For CFTK-TV News in Terrace, I'm Cael Maslin.
Earlier this week in Terrace, the local RCMP placed an article on their website that gave out the details on their latest drug bust of note. A couple of weeks ago, officers found a man believed to be a drug trafficker that was connected to another incident walking around, and he was arrested right there for trafficking a controlled substance. The man's backpack was then searched, and some of the items discovered in it included cash, several cell phones, bear spray, a baton, a loaded imitation firearm, some drug packaging items, suspected fentanyl, cocaine, meth, and some other pharmaceuticals that were not identified publicly. The Terrace RCMP said their investigation results that they accrued to the BC Prosecution Services so that they could consider charges. A weekly report from the Terrace RCMP recently talked about the most notable calls they got to begin January. One call saw police respond to a vehicle rollover incident near Gila Street. The female driver of the vehicle was arrested for seemingly being impaired by alcohol after showing some telling signs and having an odor of liquor on her. The arrest occurred after she refused a breathalyzer test, and she was eventually released with a future court date. Moving on to a pretty big story, a woman in Dawson Creek who is a victim of sex trafficking as a child is now trying to make lives better for people after struggling with her own very harsh childhood. And warning, there is mention of sexual abuse and overdose in this story. Over to CTV News' Michelle Bernoro.
For too many years, Rosalie Gallagher, now 39, held on to a dark childhood secret.
No one knew. As many people as we had around us, nobody knew.
What they didn't know, she says, began when she was elementary school aged, living in Prince George, where she says her own mother trafficked her for drugs and money.
While my friends in school, they were learning, like they were playing with Barbies and Polly Pockets and stuff like that. I was learning about other things that no child should have.
Though Rosalie says she has tried to block out her younger years, there are some things she cannot forget.
She would dress me up and she would do my hair. I would have a little bit of lipstick on. She would put a little bit of blush on. A guy would come up to the door and I would be at the door holding her hand, and he would look at her, he would smile at me, and he would hand her money, and she's like, okay, you got to go to the park with this nice gentleman.
In isolated areas of the park or down by the river, men would abuse her.
A lot of the action, it was in their vehicles. And sometimes it was at the river, like just on the ground.
She says refusing to go with the men was not an option.
I would rather go to the park instead of getting slapped around or thrown around from her.
Research shows that when it comes to sex trafficking, traffickers often know their victims. And what happened to Rosalie, say experts, is still happening in BC and across the country.
Familial trafficking is a large component of the trafficking that we see, certainly in communities where poverty and addiction are serious.
Brown says these are some of the most difficult cases to uncover.
It's happening behind closed doors in many ways, and there's so much shame, and because it's familial trafficking, the girls who are being trafficked in those situations don't always necessarily understand what's happening.
I just can't help but think, what did she go through so bad in order for her to hurt me as a child, like to hurt her own?
Rosalie says she ran away from home as a teen. She began using drugs and was soon addicted to crystal meth, her life spiraling out of control. Then one day, she says, she got a call that changed everything.
I got that phone call saying that your mom overdosed. Her body was decomposed when we found her. And I don't want my daughters to get that phone call.
Rosalie still struggles with the trauma of what happened in the park.
They're not even meant to me. Those were monsters, because they're the ones that are still haunting me at night.
But she found the courage to pull herself out of addiction, become a full-time medic, and earned a diploma with the goal of one day becoming an addictions counselor, thanks to those who stood by her.
They remind me constantly, daily, that I'm an amazing person and I have come through so much.
She's sharing her story to give other trafficking survivors hope.
You're not there to be abused. You have the strength within you.
The strength, she says, to overcome the past. Michelle Bernoro, CTV News, Dawson Creek.
Up next, the District of Kitimat is planning on conducting a study. Welcome back. The City of Prince Rupert has posted a notification saying that the boil water notice that was put into effect at the end of November is getting extended for another 4 to 6 weeks. Part of the reason for the extension is because in their process of installing a new water supply main, an isolated section of pipe was discovered to have had water sit in it for far too long, so work needs to be done to address this problem. And since this problem will require scheduled construction work as well as some water quality testing before it can be given the all clear, Northern Health has instructed the city to keep the boil notice in place for at least a few more weeks until that work gets finished. Travel numbers were down slightly this past December at the Terrace Kitimat Regional Airport. In 2024, YXT welcomed a total of over 261,000 passengers, down from 2023's 280,000 customers. In December, about 16,000 customers flew out from the airport, which is a decline from the previous year's number by approximately 20,000. Heightened activity was expected to occur during the LNG Canada construction phase, which is now said to be more than 95% complete. The District of Kitimat recently got a grant from the Union of British Columbian Municipalities so that they could conduct a study. The study in question is called the Complete Community Study, whose purpose is to help the district figure out the best way to make sure that all of their residents can meet their daily needs in the most efficient way possible. The results of the study will then be used to create an update for the district's official community plan, which is meant to make the community more self-reliant, attractive, and livable. Additional information can be found in an article on the District of Kitimat's website. The District of Kitimat then later provided a few other details on what they expect to target in the aforementioned community study, looking to help grow the area. As far as improving Kitimat as a whole, they told us that they are focusing on 4 topic areas, also known as lenses, including daily needs, transportation, infrastructure, and housing. To discuss this more with the community, the district is inviting the public at the following places next week to discuss these lenses. As for housing, a few more details have been given to us, and that is where the district is looking to complete a housing-focused official community plan. They will provide a regulatory framework to support housing development, and the staff are reportedly reviewing existing zoning and have found that there is existing zoned capacity to address a 5-year housing need number of 627 units. As we once again look to Kitimat, several other developments were made in the district throughout the past few months in order to bring some new landmarks to the area. CFTK's Damian Smith has more details.
In Kitimat, a survey was passed through the district and over 500 people participated. The district of Kitimat revealed that a splash park will be in the works with a theme as Ocean Adventures. For Mayor Phil Germuth, this is just another leisure service that he and his team want to be available to the public.
Anything you can have in your community that gives another reason for somebody to maybe look at Kitimat as their place to move to is great.
And Germuth believes that this pad can be yet another addition to Kitimat's downtown core, especially to families with younger kids.
Of the most people that have moved here, over the past, say, 7-8 years, the number one comment I get from all of them is their number one accolade for Kitimat is just how safe a place it is, and they love that. So, this is one more amenity to, get kids outside and have more of an active lifestyle, right? And get the whole family involved. The location of this splash park, spray park is really good too, because it's right by the pool, which also, of course, right in the middle of your downtown. So there's a lot of restaurants nearby, etc. So it gives the opportunity for people to go out and do a bunch of other things too while they're down there.
Now, because this pad has just been revealed in the 2025 budget for the district, it is expected that it will be ready before the warm weather arrives in 2026.
We're very proactive as the district of Kitimat, through our director of leisure services and the whole department there of wanting to do whatever we can to allow people to get out. We have a lot of hiking trails here, some of the greatest fishing in the world. We've got the recreation facilities, etc. If you like the outdoors, really, Kitimat is a great place to be.
From CFTK-TV, I'm Damian Smith.
Mining giant Rio Tinto is spending $1.75 million to support 2 research chairs at the University of Northern BC over a 5-year span. Environmental science professor Stephen Derry has been named as the Rio Tinto Research Chair in Climate Change and Water Security, while Eduardo Martins is appointed as the Chair in Climate Change and Freshwater Fish Ecology. The pair will look at how the extremes of drought and atmospheric rivers impact the Chaco watershed, which is used to power Rio Tinto's aluminum smelter on the northern coast. Its Kitimat smelter uses hydropower to produce aluminum with what the company says is one of the lowest carbon footprints worldwide. After the break, both major Northwest ski hills opened after a slow start to winter. Welcome back. Although there was somewhat of a slow start to the winter season, both of the major ski hills in the Northwest are now fully operational as people can now enjoy a new year of skiing. Once again, here's Jaylene Matthews with more information.
At Shames Mountain, manager Christian Tebarge said in a statement that this season's weather has been unpredictable, with freezing levels not necessarily cooperating. However, that didn't stop the mountain from welcoming the most guests they've ever counted at the ski hill for their Sunday, January 5th Multicultural Day, which featured $2 tubing and 50% off lessons. A record 1,031 guests visited the mountain that day. However, heavy rains last week resulted in the hill closing for the day on Friday, January 9th, which allowed the operations team to repair the slopes and open in time for the weekend. The snow base at Shames is now sitting at 49 centimeters at the lodge and 115 centimeters at the bottom of the T-bar. The mountain is generally open Thursday through Sunday, and this coming weekend they'll be hosting mini races for kids 10 and under. On Hudson Bay Mountain, they've got a 90 centimeter mid-mountain base depth and 115 centimeter alpine base depth with 284 centimeters of total accumulated snow. Hudson Bay Mountain is operational Wednesday through Sunday.
In a recent announcement, it was revealed that the Lake Babine Nation, which is located in the Burns Lake area, has managed to come to an agreement with West Fraser Pacific Inland Resources Smithers Sawmill. The agreement in question will see the nation's forestry sector send the sawmill lumber for them to process, and the deal is said to be officially known as a Log Supply and Forest Management Agreement. This new agreement builds off a different joint development deal that was made between the two parties during the previous year. And with the creation of this log agreement, the Lake Babine Nation is reportedly hoping to get a new First Nations woodland license. The Houston District Chamber of Commerce has put out a warning about a scam email going around. The Chamber of Commerce has advised recipients to not open any email or communication from an account that goes by the name of Penny Murphy. They say the email is a scam and does not originate from or represent the organization in any way. It's been recommended to anyone who received the email that they delete it immediately and to not respond to or click on any links. If you did interact with the email, the Chamber also suggests taking some appropriate steps to protect your personal information. The RCMP in Prince Rupert are investigating an incident at a school as they were called to the hospital at the start of the week for a report of an assault with a weapon. They say a youth was receiving treatment for injuries after an incident involving an edged weapon took place early Monday afternoon on school grounds. The injuries sustained were described as minor. The RCMP say all parties involved are known to each other and police do not believe that there is any risk to the public. They say they're working closely with the school district and partner agencies to provide the best possible support for the families involved. The Canadian Cancer Society houses a program among their many services that exists to give out free rides to cancer patients to make sure that they get to all of their medical-related appointments. Originally, the BC version of the program only covered the Southern Interior as well as Prince George, but now it's undergoing an expansion. These services are set to come to Northern BC and will soon be available in Terrace, Prince Rupert, and Kitimat. The provincial government invested $20 million into this program to help with this expansion, and anyone with more questions can call the Cancer Society at 1-888-939-3333. Still to come, the Old Mills Memorial Hospital was home to yet another protest. Welcome back. Yet another protest happened a little while ago outside of the Old Mills Memorial Hospital as the Skeena Valley seniors call for the building to be used for involuntary care. Once again, we shift to CFTK-TV's Cael Maslin for more.
The Skeena Valley seniors braved the rainstorm yesterday for the sake of once again protesting the demolition of Mills Memorial Hospital. This time, the protest is in response to Premier Eby's recent comments on the significant expansion of involuntary care, part of a new phase of BC's response to the opioid addiction crisis.
Across British Columbia, we know it's urgent to get people supports that are struggling with serious mental health issues and brain injury, as well as addiction. We can see people struggling in our streets, as well as, in some cases, involved in very violent and scary incidents. And so making sure that people get the care they need so that they're safe, as well as so the larger community is safe and protected, is critically important. So we're full speed ahead on that project.
The Skeena seniors suggest using the Mills Memorial Hospital for involuntary care, citing the lack of a facility being the biggest hurdle to immediate treatment needs, and that repurposing the building could be the answer. However, according to Northern Health, the Old Mills Memorial Hospital opened in 1961, and the build has been stretched to the limit. They state that building codes have changed significantly since the 60s. Additionally, the site of Mills Memorial Hospital will be used for parking for the new hospital once it's been demolished. Once the removal of the inside materials is completed, demolition will begin, and that's slated for sometime between late February and April. For CFTK-TV News in Terrace, I'm Cael Maslin.
In more long-term news, the town of Smithers posted on their Facebook page disclosing that they had sold some vacant land to the Northern Health Authority. The land in question is said to be located between Alfred Avenue and First Avenue, as well as Alberta Street and Vancouver Street, so that it can be used as a long-term care facility. The facility's construction is reportedly expected to be started by 2028 and then fully finished sometime in 2030. Also not long ago, the town of Smithers advertised that their annual Smithers Spruce Up program is once again back up and running. This program allows for local businesses located in the downtown commercial area in Smithers to apply for a grant that maxes out at $5,000 that can help them renovate, restore, or redesign their commercial building or retail storefront. However, the program will only cover certain costs such as direct project labor, materials, and supplies, as well as contractor fees. The deadline to apply is June 1st, and instructions on how to apply and the rest of the costs that are eligible to be covered are on the town's website. Over now to a report that looks into a yearly Northern BC French-themed event that is happening to run until the start of January's final week.
Towards the end of January, the French organization known as AFNO will be holding their annual multi-day event that is known as the Sugar Shack Festival. It's set to be the 15th edition of the festival, and AFNO's executive director, Renee Sivrit, explained some of the history behind the event for those that are unfamiliar with it.
It's a replica, it's a reproduction of sugar shacks in the province of Quebec in the spring when they gather the sap from the trees and they make maple syrup, and there's such a celebration as a sugar shack in the province of Quebec where they have maple tree farms, and they invite people and they come for this huge meal of French Canadian dishes.
The event has made its home in Prince Rupert and will be hosting several different activities over a 4-day period.
On the 24th of January, there's going to be a folk singer, Denis Gagné, who is from Terrace, with his percussionist, and they're called Gypsy Moondogs. And they will be performing at Calpuccino's on the 24th of January from 7 to 9 in the evening. Then on the 25th, it's our Sugar Shack event from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And then on the 26th, there's a percussion workshop for children at the library in Prince Rupert from 1 to 2 o'clock. And on the 27th, there's a wonderful French movie playing at the Prince Rupert Cinema.
While the percussion workshop is free and the movies tickets can be bought on the night of the screening at the theater, tickets to the actual Sugar Shack event, whose prices were reduced this year, can be bought in person at Cook's Jewelers or via e-transfer at afnocitywest.ca, with prices ranging from $15 for 6 to 16-year-olds, $20 for people 17 and up, and family tickets for a maximum of 4 people cost $60. Those looking to learn more about the event will most likely find what they're looking for at AFNO's website or Facebook page. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cael Maslin.
A release from the Transportation and Transit section of the BC government's website talked about how some new technology allowed for them to add 22 new road cameras in 2024. The cameras in question are available on Drive BC's website, and they let residents check out how the roads look so that they can prepare accordingly before they go out driving. A pair of those cameras were placed in the northern BC area, with one going live on Pine Pass on Highway 97 and the other being located on Highway 16 at Augier Road. More information about those cameras and their locations can be found on the BC government's website. A new weekly report from the Kitimat RCMP talked about their most notable documented incidents leading up to the halfway point of January. One reported incident saw a local resident become a victim of fraud after they were told to send more money when they were attempting to make an online purchase. The RCMP are now using this incident in order to remind people that the best way to avoid being a scam victim is by using preventative measures that are listed on the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre's website. That wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. Make sure to tune in to our regular newscast on Monday at 5, 6, and 11 o'clock here on CFTK-TV. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have a good weekend.